Hi folks, welcome to the channel. I hope everybody is keeping well on this glorious day. So I've had this bike now from new out of the showroom for exactly 1 year and 1 week. So it's done 4,500 miles and it's a Wednesday today. My wife and I are going away on the ferry to the UK on the Sunday for several days. We come back Thursday. We're going to go up to Wales, have a mooch around the Brecon Beacons, see some family and everything. So we'll come back on the Thursday, and the bike has been booked in for its 12-month service on the Friday the following day. So yep, I got this bike out of the showroom brand new, all spec'd up by me on June the 13th 2022, so 1 year and 1 week ago. And I've done lots of videos, so if you want to click up here somewhere on the playlist, go and have a look at those if you're new to the channel. But what I thought I'd do, as I've not actually done one yet, is a likes and dislikes video. So that's going to be coming up very shortly when we go back to the man cave. But I would also just like to chat about the new BMW 1300 that will be coming out later this year. So I'm reliably informed that if you go into a BMW showroom now and say you want to get one of these R1250GSs, basically you can't do it. There's no more options being taken to build them in the German factories, but I think the last ones roll off the production line sometime in August, and then that's it, no more R1250GSs kind of thing. And then the factory shuts for 2 weeks, and then during those 2 weeks in August, that's when BMW are going to retool everything. And then when everybody comes back from holiday, I just love this bike. When everybody comes back from holiday after those 2 weeks, all the machines are going to be ready to go and start producing the new 1300 or whatever cc it is. And then I guess with that new bike they will be in the showroom, so I've got no idea actually, at the end of the year or something like that. So this BMW R1250GS is going to be knocking around for a few years, so you might find one in the showroom, the last of the few remaining bikes to be sold. So if you're in the market for an R1250GS, a new one, which you may find in the showroom, or a second-hand one, because no doubt people will be part exchanging them for the new one when that comes out, or selling them privately and then waiting for the new one. And you might just want to get the R1250 and see what the 1300 is like. Hopefully there won't be too many issues with it on the Gen 1. So if you're in the market for an R1250GS, stick around, and I'm going to go through one of those likes and dislikes video, because I haven't actually done one of those. So if that's something you're interested in, what we'll do, we'll go back to the man cave, and then we'll talk about the likes and the dislikes of my 2022 BMW R1250GS. So let's go to the man cave. So here we are then, back in the man cave whilst I'm out on the GS having lots of fun. So let's talk about the dislikes first. So I have got my list of dislikes, but we're going to rattle through them extremely quickly. So dislikes then, I'm just going to start from the front of the bike and go to the back of the bike, and just going to read through them actually. So apologies for that, I haven't got a auto cue. So but first off, it'll be interesting to see when the 1300, the new GS, comes out towards the end of the year, if it would have addressed any of these dislikes. So let's crack on then. Firstly, it's quite an expensive bike to purchase, and then when you do purchase it, if you're anything like me, you are going to sit down with your laptop and then look at sites that you're allowed to look at, like Touratech, Nippy Normans, Outrider, SW Motec and Wunderlicht, to name but a few. And the problem is they're going to empty your wallet a bit more. So yeah, that's a dislike as well. Lots of big companies out there making tons of accessories for this bike, and you can't help it. You are going to spend more money. So yeah, be prepared to have lots more money being sucked out of your wallet, because we are only human. So let's have a look then. So the tyres that came with this bike out of the showroom, and as I said in the video, I had this bike for a year and 1 week. It came with the Anarchy Adventure touring tyres, or adventure tyres, and not a bad tyre, but they're a bit noisy at 40 miles an hour.
and that's the speed limit where I live, and it just drove me nuts. So took those off, and I've put some Road 6s on, and they're fine, more or less. In relation to the feel of the bike, so I'm a sports bike rider kind of thing, but getting a bit older, so I want a bit more comfort. So obviously we have the BMW telelever front suspension unit, and you know, when you're on the gas around the corners, the twisties, all that kind of stuff, there is a little bit of lacking of front end feel from the bike. But again, I think that's just purely from the fact that the telelever separates the steering forces from the suspension forces, and with that you just get a little bit of vagueness from the front end feel. Well, that's my interpretation of it anyway. And then if you're doing like the old 3-point turn when you're stationary, because you can't bounce the forks, it can be a little bit of a pain in the backside. So yeah, so you can't bounce the forks like you can on an ordinary sort of front suspension bike. The brakes, so this is the 2022 R1250GS TE model, and the rally model came with the nice Brembo branded front brakes. The rear brake on this is a Brembo, but the front brake is a Hayes caliper unit, and I was a little bit disappointed in that. I would have liked to seen, for the money, you know, Bosch, a couple of, not Bosch, but a couple of Brembo brakes on the front there. But Brembo and Hayes, they all belong to sort of the same group of companies, so it's not a separate entity as such. So yeah, they all part of the same group. Clutch noise, sat up here riding the bike, you do get a little bit of clutch noise coming up through the fork tunnel here, and at the top up here you have got quite a bit of a large gap, and I'm not a great fan of that because it's a big old gap. So the front headlight, and to be honest folks, I don't actually ride the bike at night, so I've only ridden it a couple of times at night, and the front headlight for me is not particularly brilliant. It's all right, but it's nothing to write home about. That's my own view on it, and most of us put extra lights on the bike anyway. As I said before, you know, we get the BMW GS, and then we open our wallet and all those companies suck stuff out of the wallet, i.e. the money, and Denali and other lighting companies sort of do that as well. So yeah, I've put Denali lights on here as well. Vibration through the handlebars on the right hand side. I did a trip to France last year. I think it was the first time I took it away, and yeah, a little bit of vibration, numbness in the right hand. So yeah, I'll put some bar end weights on that, but everybody's different with the makeup of, you know, how much fat you've got in your hands, all that kind of stuff. Maybe just me, I've got diddy hands. So, but that's one thing I noticed. I really like the TFT. I think it's one of the best in the business. The only thing is with that sort of matte finish on it, if you get any moisture on it, you do notice that it does sort of leave behind like the dry streak marks, and it gets very dusty. So that's the only thing I'd say about that. And if you use a telephone and you listen to playlists, sometimes when you sort of hook the phone up to the TFT, it can take forever and a day to sort of transfer all the stuff to the menus on here, like the telephone directory and your list of playlists. So that can take a while, and it just says it's loading or something like that. Nice to see the controls being backlit, and I'll leave it at there. And then moving towards the middle of the bike, the side covers, you've got battery on the one side and then something else down here. If, like me, you're into taking stuff off, putting stuff on, doing YouTube videos for you guys to see, and you do the battery cover and this cover down here, at some point you are going to lose one of the rubber grommets to the abyss as you push it in. And to negate that, I've just gone down to my local BMW dealer and got a bag of spares. Actually, they cost about £5 or £6. So I've got a bag of spares for those. And also some of these, again, I've taken this, the whole thing has been off numerous times to do my videos. Again, there'll be links up here in the description down below. Yeah, been off loads of times, and the screws on here, there's like a female clip, and if you over tighten that, which I have done, and in fact it was on one of these, it was on the battery panel on the side here, and I snapped it, and it took me like an hour to get the thing out. So I've got a bag of those spare female clips, for want of a better word. So yeah, so the grommets and the female clips that go behind here all over the place, I've just got a bag of those spares as well. So the quick shifter then, that's a bone of contention. Lots of stuff on the forums about this. Basically, it's not the best in the business. From third up to sixth, It works fine. It works very good actually, and I think you need to have it about 4,000 revs and above, first to second, second to third. No, I don't really tend to use it actually. It's not the smoothest. I actually thought I had a problem with mine. The bike's on about 4,500 miles now. I thought I had a problem with mine, so much so that I complained lots and lots to my dealer and the service manager, bless his cotton socks. I think he got sick and tired of me complaining about it, so they got me a new one under warranty, and I think it's just a matter of time. 4,000 miles now, it's really good actually, above from third gear, fourth, fifth, fifth to sixth, really good. But first to second, don't even bother with it. Second to third, yeah, it's okay. And I'm doing everything correctly. And even on the way down, you know, people say, oh, you've got to make sure you're closing the throttle, but you know, you can really turn the throttle so it can't go any more closed, and it's still, sometimes it's not brilliant on the way down, and in fact you get to some point where the actual gear lever just won't move at all. It's almost like it's locked. So yeah, the quick shifter is fine from third and above, and on the way down it's all right, shall we say. But yeah, I think you've got to put a lot of more miles on it and it gets better. But yeah, there's lots of discussion on the forums, and I am doing everything correct. So that's the quick shifter. The multifunction lights then, again, lots of stuff on the internet. I like the lights on the front, hate the lights on the rear. I think that BMW, I don't know what they were doing there. I think on some of their latest bikes, they've actually done away with the actual brake light unit, and they've just got multifunction lights either side. But no, I'm not a fan of that whatsoever, and I'm certainly not going to spend £300 or £400. There's a company out there now that can rewire the bike with new lights, so you go back to what those lights should be actually. But I'll leave them as they are, and I just hope maybe BMW will come out with a retrofit for free of charge to sort that out. But yeah, you either love them or you don't like them, and I don't like the lights on the bike. I think there's a safety issue there. So we're nearly there. It's not too much more to go now on my dislikes list, and this might make you laugh, but the pillion seat, when you put the key in, turn it to the right because you're pointing to the pillion seat at the back. When you come to put it back, there are actually two positions you can put that rear pillion seat in, and if you don't put the rear of the seat into the section where it needs to go in, then you end up with the seat apparently being secure, but the actual back of the seat will flip up. And those of you that have done it will know exactly what I'm talking about. So yeah, that's a little bit of a dislike. And I think, oh no, there's one more thing, and that is, I've never had a bike, in fact, it's about the only bike that I ride in all weathers actually, if I'm being brutally honest, but man, it just chucks up so much stuff on the bike. You know, you just look at a puddle and bang, it's covered in it. So if you don't like cleaning bikes, go and get something else. And yeah, all the crud can sit in the fins on the cylinder heads as well. So yeah, yeah. I'll talk about those cylinder heads. If you look at it from above, I don't actually know if maybe some BMW owners will know this, but if you stand on the foot pegs, look straight down, you will see, because of the boxer engine, the cylinders are slightly staggered, so they're not like that. They're sort of like that. So if you're a bit OCD, you might not like that. And that, folks, is my dislikes list, which is not too bad actually. So let's have a look at the likes list. So one more thing before we talk about the likes. I've just got another dislike, and that is self-cancelling indicators, which this has got. And sadly, you can't deactivate the self-cancelling part to it. Only wish BMW would give you the option to do that, because I'm not a big fan of self-cancelling indicators. So on to the likes then. So I like the fact that it looks like a Land Rover kind of stuff. You can ride it off a cliff and it would just pick itself up, brush itself down and carry on and say, is that the best you can do? So yeah, it's just got that sort of kind of feel and look to it. So I really like that. I like the fact that you don't get any front dive with that telelever suspension. So that took a little bit of getting used to, but yeah, I'm a big fan of that. The haze brakes, we've already had those as a dislike, but having ridden the bike now for over a year, I really like them. So I'm a fan of the Hayes brake. So in effect, I take everything back, but I'd still like to see Brembo on there. But yeah, those Hayes brakes are absolutely fine, and I haven't had a problem with them. I use them with 2 fingers, absolutely no problems whatsoever. The clutch lever, it's a nice smooth operation. I never had an issue with that. It's not heavy, it's not light, it's sort of middle of the road, so the clutch is nice. TFT, I really like the TFT. I think that is one of the best in the business. If you're not into riding the bike day in, day out, I mean, the menu systems on some of these bikes I've seen, it's like you need a degree in electronics to operate them. So if you're not a frequent rider on the BMW, it's not going to take you long to get back into how to use the TFT, because it is very simple. So that's a big thumbs up from me. I like the simplicity of accessing stuff within the TFT. So the layout of the controls as well, I think BMW have done a really good job. If you look at like the Honda Africa Twin, man, that's like a spaceship on here. Very nice, very simple, very cleanly laid out. So a good job, BMW. I do like that, but maybe they'll be backlit for the new one. Who knows? So you like that. Cruise control, very nice to operate, very easy. Yeah, again, a thumbs up for me on that one. For a big bike, as an ex-sports bike rider, a big bike, it handles really, really well. Again, you get a little bit of vagueness on the front end feel, but for a big bike, I just think it's, yes, love it, absolutely love it. But maybe that's an age thing when you start to wear glasses, when you hit 50 onwards, etc. So yeah, handling, I really like it. The engine, well, it's all about the 1250 engine, isn't it, with the old shift cam. What a stonking engine that is. I absolutely love it. Lazy man's engine, 2 up with all the kit on. It will just pull you out of corners. You can be lazy with the gearbox. It's not the kind of engine that likes to have the knackers revved out of it. So it's a real world engine. And anything sort of from 2,000 up to 6,000, yeah, it's a cracking engine. Really like that. And if you want to rev it out all the way, yeah, good luck to you. There's no need to do that. But it will sort of, yeah, it will do that if you want to. But most people, I would say, between 2.5 and 6,000 is where it really dominates the road. Very nice. And talking about the engine, a big plus for me is the shaft drive of the bike. I now no longer get oil flung up all over the back of the bike, all over the swinging arm. So that's one of the reasons I bought the GS, because I wanted a bike with a shaft drive. So yes, love the shaft drive. In relation to miles per gallon, I ride it quite aggressively actually. So I'm getting about 48 miles per gallon, and this is the GS model, not the GSA, because my bladder won't last that long. So this will be good for about, if you look at it, it's 48 miles per gallon, which is what it's showing on the settings on here. That's about 5.9 litres per 100 kilometres, 20 litre tank. Before I have to push it then, 211 miles, and maybe my bladder might last that long. So yeah, fuel consumption for a big engine seems to be pretty much okay. The quick shifter, already spoken about it. From 3rd gear upwards, yeah, I really like it. You know, bop, 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 yeah, really nice. And it's just a bit funny on the way down. Comfort, yeah, done a few trips on this now. Me and Ali went away, my riding buddy, last year, and I think in one day we went from Geneva to our ferry port, just shy of 600 miles. Yeah, I could have done another 200 miles easily. So, and that's, I think I've got the standard seat on here, and I've got a 32-inch seam, and I have got it set at the lowest setting. But yeah, all day comfort, marvelous as you would expect from a bike like this. So yeah, really like it. So I think, you know, that's a very short likes list. Maybe it's a bit shorter than the dislikes list, but yeah, I just love this bike. Would I get the 1300? Not sure. More than likely, but I won't get it this year. We'll wait and see. But yeah, warranty wise, 3 years warranty, which is great. And you can extend that into year 4. I've got my KTM 890R there. Disappointed, it's coming up to 2 years old, and KTM, you can't actually, they're not doing, you can't buy a 3rd year warranty now, which is bizarre. But if you have it serviced, then regardless of the age, if it breaks down when you're touring, KTM will come and collect the bike. They've got some kind of insurance thing going on their deal. So yeah, so the good thing is you can buy extra years coverage through your dealer, i.e. year 4 and onwards. But yeah, warranty, really like that. That's good. I think that's pretty much pretty much everything. I really like the bike. It makes me giggle. You can have some serious fun on it, get in some serious trouble if that's your thing. And the only thing I'm going to say is, because I've done so many YouTube videos, these are my favourite tools: Torx T25, Torx T30. And if you know what I'm talking about, you can take all these screws off, all the panels off, back on again. I mean, I've had this bike to bits so many times just using these two tools, and it's just great for working on. I really like it. I haven't done any work on the engine, but panels off, all the front end off, really the ease of access to take everything off and put your lights and your horns and all that stuff on. Yeah, very nice to work on. I had an Africa Twin, and every time you took the front off or the side panels off, you were lucky if you didn't snap a male lug, which is really frustrating, because then you get a bit of tap in the panels. But this, boy oh boy, yeah, work on it, get the Torx screwdrivers in there, whip the panels off, back on again. Yeah, brilliant. So all in all, I like this bike. So if you've got any comments to make them in the comment section down below. But in the meantime, I'm gonna get back on the bike and continue with my ride.
Well folks, I do hope you found the likes and dislikes video of interest to yourself. Certainly if you're in the market for a BMW R1250GS, it's always nice to know what faults, if indeed there are any faults with the bikes, or what people would recommend. I really like this bike. I'll be keeping it for a little while. It's just a great machine. Anyway, if you enjoyed it, give us a thumbs up. If you've got any comments to make, as always, put them in the description down below. I'll leave you in peace and quiet, and I'm going to continue enjoying the view and my R1250GS, which I have to say, for this moment in my life, is the best bike that I've ever owned. Cheerio for now, ride safe as ever, and yeah, hit that subscription button. Woohoo!